Welcome to If This Bar Could Talk. In this mini-sode, we review cocktail menus from around Columbus that change with the seasons. We explore what's new, what's creative, and what each menu says about the bar behind it. Grab a drink and listen in. And if you have a menu that you'd like us to review, drop us a line at columbuscraftcocktailtour.com. Cheers. Welcome, listeners, for our first cocktail menu review. We are at the Soul Bar with Mike Feist, who is the what?
Food and beverage manager or bar manager of Soul at the Joseph, the bar here at Le Méridien Columbus, the hotel.
Okay, so you have a very unique cocktail menu this season. Tell us about this menu.
Yeah, so we have 12 different cocktails. The program's called Lost Cocktails of Columbus. It's all based on old restaurants, bars, and hotels here in Columbus. And I kind of chose to do this because I really love history. I've always been into local history for all my life. And moving to Columbus, I've written, researched, photographed almost every building downtown and lots of other buildings around the city. And I really love to kind of combine my hobbies when I can of photography, of food, of cocktails, history. For sure, this has been such a blast to create this menu.
How did you find all of these recipes?
So the very, very first impetus behind this menu, I was like, okay, we need to find some great hotels, bars, restaurants that have old menus. The first actual thing I did was I called my friend Doug Moats. Do you know Doug? Mm-hmm. So he has always been a Columbus restaurant historian for decades. And so
he's the Kahiki guy, right?
He's the Kahiki guy. So he was very instrumental in providing some resources, kind of guiding where I should go. And what was great is we decided, okay, first thing should be a little class field trip. So I gathered up all the bartenders. I took them to the downtown main library. And so the main library, they provided, I emailed ahead of time, a whole box full of menus. But then we had Doug show up, and he brought a whole nother box full of menus, same amount of collection as the Columbus Metropolitan Library.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So did you alter the recipes at all, or are they exactly as they were?
I did alter some to modern tastes. It kind of progressed as you went kind of newer and newer. I was able to find more of the original recipes and was able to more authentically follow them as well. Some of the newer cocktails are already adapted to modern tastes. So I wanted to feature Mouton and the Light of Seven matchsticks, and those ones I was able to copy pretty much verbatim. I was able to actually reproduce, even including whatever whiskey they used, whatever liqueurs they used, very spot on. Some of the old menus only had minute descriptions. Some of the places didn't really have cocktail menus. So the Chittenden Hotel, the oldest one on my list, had food menus, had wine menus, had AM menus, but nothing relating to cocktails, even though I know they had a cocktail bar. I have photos of it. So I was like, okay, let's kind of emulate what they might have had, especially given the architecture, the style. These old photos of kind of their aesthetic was very Moroccan, they had these great Moorish towers. And I decided, okay, let's pick that as an inspiration and come up with this cocktail.
Now, I love how they go from the 1890s to present day, basically. But do you ever have customers that come in and say, oh, I remember that cocktail. I remember going to that bar or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Not as many as far as the cocktails themselves. I think Pocketful of Sunshine was a Mouton cocktail. Some people remember.
I remember that one.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then one thing that was crazy to me was I went to Doug's, one of his famous speakeasy tiki parties recently, and there's another ultra tiki fan who went to the Kahiki, and she was like, I drank the Kahiki coffee grog. And I was like, whoa.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fun. So you mentioned you went to the library and they had menus from these old restaurants. Are they still collecting menus present day? Do you know?
Yeah, so they have a website called like myhistory.columbuslibrary.com, I believe, or .org, and there you can deposit all sorts of your old photos, your old menus, anything that's Columbus based. They like are very eager to kind of add to their collection. They have, I don't know, millions of files. They're one of the largest library history collections like across the country. And that's been one of the really great blessings that has allowed me to do some really intensive research on even some of these buildings.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So if somebody comes in and they order one of these cocktails, does it come with a history lesson if people ask?
It does. So this is the simple menu. It has the 6 on one side, 6 cocktails on the other side. But we really loved how this all turned out. I wrote about little blurbs of the history and even collected some photos. And so the rest of my team was like, hey, let's create a physical book. So we have a few copies of a more intensive history on these sites, on their legacy here in Columbus. And we definitely tried to pick some of the more important places. We also tried to pick some that were very local. So Betty's Fine Food and Spirits was just up High Street here in the Short North. Same as Mouton was really pretty close to that. The High Lie was just originally down on High Street where the Cap is now, until they moved to Olentangy River Road in, I think, the 50s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So tried to stick with some local ideas, and then some near and dear to our hearts, like the Kahiki. And Light of Seven Matchsticks was a bar that I learned most of my craft cocktail bartending at. So that was definitely like a need. I loved making that Pigamogi drink. I loved being able to snack on some bacon and some maple while prepping it. So
I love everything about this because I love history of cocktails and spirits, and we love the cocktail culture here in Columbus. This is so important. Like, this is really good work that you're doing. It's not just a cocktail menu. This is just really cool history lesson.
Absolutely.
And are you gonna make this into a book? I think you should.
It might be in the works, but also look out for, we're signing a deal to write about the Levesque Tower, Doug and I. So
nice.
Be on the lookout for that.
Okay.
A very comprehensive history on that building is going to be my next project outside of Le Méridien.
That's really cool. Yeah. So I think the cocktail culture is so much a part of Columbus. I would like to see Columbus have an official cocktail. Like New Orleans has the Sazerac,
and
the Sidecar in Chicago, the Old Fashioned in Louisville, or the Mint Julep if it's Derby Day. All major cities have a cocktail except for Columbus, and we are known for cocktails.
Well, one of the wild things to me was I researched this Deschler hotel, and the Deschler drink that you're drinking, it is a famous lost cocktail, like for real. Our point of sale system, I was like editing it, and I found Deschler like pre-programmed in. It's like that important is all Marriott hotels have a Deschler as like an option to create a cocktail, which is cool. Super cool.
That is cool.
It's one of the few like pre-prohibition recipes that they found. This man Hugo, I believe in Enslin. He recorded it in 1916 and 1917 in this book, and that was right before Prohibition happened. Mm-hmm. So that was fascinating to me and also other historians. Do you know the book Imbibe?
Yes.
Sure. Mentions that cocktail book so much because it was one of the last comprehensive books. And this Hugo bartender was a bartender at the Wallach Hotel, which the Wallach Hotel chain owned the Deschler. So the thought is maybe that's why he included it in the 1916, 1917 books, but also maybe if it was created in 1916, that's when the Deschler opened. So maybe it was like the inaugural drink for the Deschler Hotel.
No, I hope it is. That would be really cool. So you got the Deschler, I got the old fashioned. Mine is delicious. This is from the Claremont Hotel, which we're not from here, but we've been here long enough to. I remember
I've
Claremont.
been to the Claremont.
Was here when we moved here, so it's amazing. It's really good. I like it better than the Deschler. but the Deschler is also very good. Do you have a favorite on here?
I think, so my favorite is the secret menu. If you look at our full leather-bound book that has the histories, I created like a little add-on, a 13th cocktail. So that one uses a blend of really awesome Jamaican rums. It uses some lime juice. Then we have, so it's like a classic daiquiri base. It has some sugar.
Okay.
The sugar is made into a shrub. I hand-foraged pawpaws here in the Columbus area and have a pawpaw shrub. So this is a kind of a pawpaw daiquiri with a little of the green Azara, is like a chartreuse, but from the Basque country of France. And that provides just a nice little subtle herbal back note. So I think that one's pretty phenomenal.
Nothing more Central Ohio than a pawpaw, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is amazing. And while we can't drink through the whole list tonight, we are definitely going to try before it goes away. How long are you planning to keep this?
So we're keeping this through about the end of May, but we're talking about for June and through the summer, we're talking about kind of keeping this Lost Cocktails concept and maybe changing out one or two or three, maybe trying to pick some new restaurants or bars, trying to pick new ones off of the old menus. So we'll kind of see what, interests us, what is a little bit more summery flavors. But I definitely there's like a few places I wasn't quite able to, feature for this round. So stay tuned.
Well, I love that you're doing it at a hotel where you get out-of-town guests constantly so they can see. But I don't think you should, I think maybe next time call it History of Columbus Cocktails or something like that, because they're not lost. You found them.
Yeah, rediscovered Cocktails of Columbus.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that I think is really great, is that the people traveling from outside Ohio can see we have such a legacy, such a history of really great cocktail programs, of great restaurants and bars. There's a lot more depth to Columbus's food and beverage scene than people might realize. And then it's also a great way for locals to let's try this cocktail that would have been served back here, at the Claremont. Definitely people remember the Marimore. People talk fondly. The Kahiki. The Christopher Inn was a little short-lived, but the legacy of that building, people have seen just like photos and videos of it, and it is such a captivating mid-century marvel.
As people still talk about missing Betty's.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, very cool. Mike, this is such a unique and cool thing that you've done. This menu is just amazing. So cheers to you for bringing back the history.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
A big thanks to our producer, Greg Hansberry, and to the biographer for our original music. Visit our website at columbuscraftcocktailtour.com for merch, tour dates, and gift cards, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Cbus Craft Cocktail Tour. Please rate, review, and subscribe. It really helps. Until next time, remember to drink responsibly and stay cocktail curious. Cheers.
This has been a Last Call Productions production.